Dennis, one of the biggest questions people have in financial planning is about cost. So I'm here today to ask you, how much does it cost to work with a financial planner?
It's an important question, and it doesn't have an easy answer because different planners have got different models. The model that we have really is really about fixed fees.
So you talk about different models though, can I
Yeah.
ask you to break those down?
So traditionally, I think off the back of what might have been a commission model, there would have been a percentage of the money that you've got to invest that would be payable for the plan or the execution of that plan. That's very prevalent, that percentage of assets. There are other firms that run a pure hourly rate, whatever that hourly rate is. And I think perhaps the difficulty with that is if you think you're on the clock, you may not feel as a client that you've got the freedom to ask all the questions you want to ask because you're paying for the answer. And the model that we have is we know how long it takes to produce a financial plan. And it's a bit like consultancy. It shouldn't really be attached to the outcome. It should be about, you come to me with this problem and I want to give you a solution. And there's a cost for doing that. Underlying is an hourly rate, but it's the bit that says, look, for an all-in X pounds, we will produce this plan. We will take all the information off you and present you something that gives you the answers you need to take the next step forward. So I think there are three models there.
So if a client is speaking to a financial planner, what do they need to check before they agree to the cost of the plan?
I think they need to know what they're in for. And at what point can they get out of that? And I can only speak for our firm really, but we have three distinct stages. The financial planning stage, where we give people all the information to go away, have the clarity that they're looking for, the guidance that they're looking for, and if they feel confident and competent, to go and implement that themselves. But we do work with clients who say, well, yeah, that's all well and good, but I don't have that confidence and I don't feel competent. And I've got these existing things that really need consolidating. I want to work with you on that. So we would have another charge for putting that together. And then they might go away. And then there are some clients that say, but you've already talked to me about the need to regularly check in, to have an adaptable plan that changes as my life changes. And so we would have a charge for working with people going forward, where we would do all the administration, we would do all the ongoing financial planning, we would do all of those conversations about changing legislation, what's happening in the budget, what do I need to do? That all-encompassing full financial planning service that works with you over a long term.
Would you say it's quite important to check how much contact and communication you're going to have with your financial planner, particularly if you're having that ongoing service?
I think it's important to have a service level, an agreement about what's going to happen. But I find that working with people is that their lives don't come as neat, compartmentalized. Everything happens in a straight line throughout the year and I'm going to have an hour or an hour and a half or 2 hours every year. Sometimes challenges come along, sometimes more than one at a time. And you want to feel that the person you're working with is going to be able to support you over that time. So you may not have had a lot of involvement beyond an annual review for a couple of years, and then something happens. Terminal illness, a divorce, children. It's not always bad news. Happy news. I've met somebody, my life's changing. We want to upgrade to a bigger, better house. We've set our sights on a holiday home somewhere else. All of those things take a bit more time, and you want somebody who absolutely gets you as an individual or as a family, knows everything about you, so that very quickly you can say, that's the route I would take if I were you.
One question that keeps springing to my mind though, do you think people focus a bit too much on the cost of financial planning to the detriment of their actually doing it?
I think because there is a cost, and it can feel like a high cost, we're talking thousands of pounds initially rather than hundreds of pounds, that can be a big ask if you haven't really got an idea of what it is you're going to get at the end. So I think it's important that we demonstrate where that value is. And I mean, as a firm, very early on, we took the decision to say that we have to add value. And if we cannot demonstrate that value, we just have a very simple money back guarantee. If at the end of that financial planning process, we haven't delivered the value, the clarity, and the information that you were looking for, we will just give you your money back. You give me my plan back. That's what we've worked hard to do. And we will just part as friends.
Okay, well, you've mentioned value there. So what does value look for, let's say for me as a client? How will I know that I'm getting value?
There are some metrics, I think, that you could say, well, I look where my money is now, what I'm paying for my investments, what I'm paying, and whether I'm getting the kind of returns I'm expecting. Those things are measurable. But the other ones are here in the heart, the ability to sleep at night and to be able to say, well, yeah, I've had this conversation, I've had this series of conversations with Dennis and his team, and I feel confident about the future, whereas before I didn't. And I can now go out into the world and do what I do best, knowing that these guys are covering my back in the areas that they know best. And I'm no longer having a sense of fear, perhaps, or spending my weekends searching through the newspapers and the internet, trying to work out what I'm supposed to be doing.
So in short, how can someone know if working with a financial planner is worth it? I think you've covered it there, but what would you say?
I mean, I think the academics may argue with me, but there's a gut feeling when you work with somebody that, do they understand me? Am I getting a sense? And it is that human sense that I am going to be better off in my world working with these people.